Miami just earned the most terrifying distinction in American real estate. UBS Global Wealth Management crowned it the #1 housing bubble in the entire world for the second year running. And what's happening right now in Miami-Dade County is making Governor Ron DeSantis sweat in ways that have nothing to do with the Florida heat. But here's what nobody's telling you. This isn't just about prices being too high or buyers disappearing. What's unfolding across Miami-Dade is a perfect storm of forces converging at exactly the wrong time, and the leaked internal numbers show something far worse than anyone expected. The data reveals a market correction so severe that even the ultra-luxury segment can't hide the cracks anymore. So what's really happening behind the scenes? And if you own property in Miami-Dade or anywhere in South Florida, what should you do right now before it's too late? Let me show you something that should absolutely terrify anyone holding Florida real estate. Miami-Dade County home sales dropped 16% in July 2025 compared to the previous year, falling from over 2,000 transactions to just 1,782. That's not a slowdown, that's a cliff dive. But the real story isn't in the overall numbers, it's in what's happening beneath the surface that reveals just how bad this correction is becoming. Home values in Miami are declining by 0.7% year over year, while inventory has climbed to 19,000 active listings, the highest level recorded since 2019. Think about that for a second. After tripling during the pandemic, inventory is now flooding back onto the market faster than buyers can absorb it. Properties that used to vanish in days now sit for over 2 months. In some Miami Beach zip codes, nearly 1 in 5 homes have had a price cut, with values down almost 6% year over year. The condo market is getting absolutely demolished. Total condo sales declined over 17% year over year in July 2025, dropping from 1,114 to just 921. And this is where DeSantis starts to panic, because the reasons behind this collapse expose failures in policy that he can't spin away. Only 21 condo buildings across Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties are approved for FHA loans. 21 out of over 2,000 condominium buildings. That means 99% of potential first-time buyers are locked out of the condo market entirely, unless they have massive cash reserves or can secure conventional financing with much higher down payments. But insurance is the crisis that's truly breaking the market. Insurance premiums have increased by an average of 38% year over year, with some coastal areas seeing increases of up to 65%. Several major insurers have reduced coverage or completely exited the Florida market. For many homeowners, insurance now costs more than their mortgage payment. Let that sink in. You're paying more to protect your house than you are to actually buy your house. A typical Miami-Dade homeowner is now looking at annual insurance bills between $6,000 and $12,000, and for waterfront properties, those numbers can exceed $15,000 annually. The analysis defines Miami as experiencing a substantial and sustained mispricing of homes, with the price-to-rent ratio surpassing even the extremes of the 2006 property bubble. When your price-to-rent ratio hits 20 to 1, you're in dangerous territory. That means it costs 20 times more per year to buy than to rent the same property. Historically, when markets hit these levels, a correction isn't just likely, it's inevitable. Here's where DeSantis' panic becomes visible. Behind closed doors, the governor's team is scrambling to address a crisis they didn't see coming and can't easily fix. DeSantis proposed more than $600 million in his budget for programs to help reduce homeowners' insurance costs, including nearly $600 million for the MySafe Florida program. This is a massive increase from previous years, and it signals just how desperate the situation has become. But throwing money at home hardening programs doesn't solve the fundamental problem. Insurance companies are fleeing because the risk has become unmanageable, and the reinsurance market has priced Florida properties as increasingly uninsurable. The political pressure is mounting from all sides. Democrats are hammering DeSantis over the insurance crisis, saying he's ignored the real affordability problem while focusing on property tax cuts that do almost nothing for struggling homeowners. One state representative put it bluntly, saying if DeSantis really cared about Floridians, he'd address insurance and housing affordability instead of pursuing political distractions. And she's not wrong. When you're paying $12,000 a year for insurance, a few $100s in property tax relief is meaningless. But let me show you what's really terrifying about Miami's market correction. It's not happening everywhere equally. Some zip codes are seeing sharp price declines, with Miami Beach leading at nearly 6% down year over year, and nearly 1 in 5 homes showing price cuts. Meanwhile, other areas are actually still seeing modest appreciation, but they're also flagged as over 75% overvalued based on income ratios. Those rising areas aren't safe. They're the last dominoes waiting to fall. The migration patterns tell the whole story. Florida gained over 300,000 new residents in 2021 and 2022. That flood of people powered the boom. But Florida's inbound migration has slowed by 18% compared to 2024 peaks, with economic uncertainty and rising insurance costs cited as contributing factors. The people aren't coming anymore, and the ones who are already here, many are rethinking their decisions as carrying costs spiral out of control. Cash buyers are pulling back too. Miami-Dade County recorded a 12.6% year-over-year decrease in cash sales for single-family homes and a 3% decline for condos. Cash sales have historically been a strong indicator of foreign investment and wealthy buyers with the resources to weather any storm. When even cash buyers start walking away, that's the canary in the coal mine. It means the ultra-wealthy investors who kept the luxury market propped up during previous downturns are losing confidence in Miami's fundamentals. The median time to contract is about 44 days for single-family homes and 65 days for condos, with time to sale averaging 85 and 107 days respectively. During the peak, homes were going under contract in under a week. Now, sellers are waiting 2 to 3 months just to get an offer, and many of those offers are low-ball bids 20 to 30% below asking price. DeSantis tried to claim victory earlier this year, pointing to the fact that Florida had some of the lowest premium increases in the nation during 2024. But that stat is wildly misleading. The average increase in Citizens' premiums will be 8.6% this year, and Citizens is the state-run insurer of last resort that now covers over 840,000 policies. Those policies exist because private insurers wouldn't touch them at any price. So yes, technically the rate increases slowed, but only because the state took on massive risk that private markets refused to underwrite. Here's something the governor really doesn't want you to know. Between 2017 and 2025, 17 insurers declared insolvency within a year of receiving top ratings from Demotech, the ratings agency that evaluates most Florida insurers. These companies were rated as financially strong and then collapsed within 12 months. That means thousands of homeowners thought they had solid coverage, only to find themselves scrambling when their insurer bankrupted. And when that happens, their policies get dumped into Citizens, where premiums often double or triple. The political dimension adds another layer of dysfunction. Citizens policyholders are forced to resolve all claims disputes through arbitration, while private policyholders can litigate their claims in court. And policyholders are losing nearly all of their arbitration cases. This creates a two-tiered system where the most vulnerable homeowners, the ones who couldn't get private insurance, also have the least recourse when claims are denied. That's not a bug in DeSantis' system. It's a feature designed to protect citizen solvency at the expense of homeowners. The condo crisis compounds everything. After the Surfside collapse, Florida passed Senate Bill 4D, requiring structural inspections and reserve funding by the end of 2024. Condo sales fell by double digits across the region, with Miami-Dade down 25%, Broward down 24%, and Palm Beach down 17%. And even though DeSantis signed changes to ease the requirements, giving owners more time to build reserves and conduct inspections, the damage is done. Buyers are terrified of older buildings with massive upcoming assessments, and sellers are trapped in units they can't unload without taking brutal losses. Homeowners aren't being foreclosed on because they have massive equity from the pandemic boom. But they're also not selling, because selling means accepting a loss they can't afford. They're trapped. The equity is there on paper, but it's locked behind carrying costs that keep rising and a buyer pool that keeps shrinking. So here's the real question. What should you do if you own property in Miami-Dade right now? The data suggests three scenarios are playing out. If you're in an ultra-luxury property above $3 million, you're actually seeing some stability. Miami-Dade is on pace to set records for ultra-luxury sales above $10 million, approaching the record set during the pandemic. The ultra-wealthy are still buying because Miami offers more value than New York, London, or other global cities. For them, a $12,000 insurance bill is a rounding error. If you're in the middle market, between $400,000 and $1 million, you're in the danger zone. This is where inventory is exploding, days on market are doubling, and price cuts are becoming standard. The median price for single-family homes saw a slight decrease of 1.5%, settling at $660,000. That modest decline masks much steeper drops in individual neighborhoods and for specific property types. And if you're in the affordable condo market, especially in older buildings facing assessment issues, you might already be underwater on a functional basis, even if your mortgage balance is fine. The combination of falling prices, rising HOA fees, special assessments, and insurance costs means your total monthly carrying cost could exceed what renters are paying for comparable units. DeSantis keeps insisting the reforms are working and the market has stabilized, but stability isn't the same as health. A market that's stabilizing at deeply unaffordable levels, with declining sales volume, rising inventory, and collapsing buyer confidence, isn't a healthy market. It's a market in the early stages of a correction that could take years to fully play out. While price growth is expected to turn negative in the coming quarters, a sharp correction appears unlikely at this stage, as Miami's coastal appeal and favorable tax environment continue to attract newcomers, though international demand, particularly from Latin America, remains robust, especially in the luxury oceanfront condo segment. That's the optimistic take. The pessimistic take is that Miami has become a tale of two cities, a luxury market serving international wealth that remains disconnected from local economic fundamentals, and a middle-class market that's breaking under the weight of insurance costs, financing challenges, and a fundamental mismatch between prices and incomes. Here's what the governor hopes you don't figure out. The insurance crisis isn't fixable with the tools he's using. Home hardening programs might reduce premiums by 10 to 15% if you're lucky. But when your base premium is $10,000, saving $1,500 doesn't change the affordability equation. The real solution would require Florida to acknowledge climate risk is increasing, strengthen building codes dramatically, and potentially retreat from some high-risk coastal development. But those solutions are political poison for a governor who built his brand on growth and development. So Miami-Dade sits at the epicenter of a crisis with no easy answers. Sales keep falling, inventory keeps rising, insurance keeps climbing, and DeSantis keeps insisting everything is fine while quietly throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at programs that treat symptoms rather than causes. The market isn't crashing in the traditional sense, with mass foreclosures and panic selling. Instead, it's grinding through a slow-motion correction where sellers can't get their price, buyers can't afford the carrying costs, and everyone is waiting for someone else to blink first. If you own property here, the hard truth is this: hope is not a strategy. Waiting for things to return to 2021 pricing is like waiting for mortgage rates to return to 3%. It's not happening. The new reality is higher carrying costs, longer marketing times, and buyers with far more leverage than they've had in years. And if you're thinking about buying, the opportunity is real, but the risks are also real. Focus on buildings with clean financial statements, completed structural inspections, and adequate reserves. Get insurance quotes before you make an offer, not after. And run the numbers on total monthly carrying costs, because that's what determines if you can actually afford the property long-term. Miami-Dade's implosion isn't a sudden crash. It's a slow unraveling of a market that ran too hot for too long while structural problems accumulated beneath the surface. DeSantis' panic is justified. This is his market, his policies, and his crisis to solve. And so far, the solutions aren't working. The question now is how much further this correction has to run before the market finds a new equilibrium that reflects reality instead of speculation.